Hi, I'm back. I said I would talk about ministers, right? So, uh, I want to talk about uh, because it's becoming a growing topic, and over the years, we've been having these come to Jesus moments about these ministers. And Real Housewife of Potomac started off this conversation with Jamal Bryant. And I'm gonna be honest, like I've watched Real Housewives of the Potomac, but not consistently. And um, and it hasn't been a consistent watch. So that I'll admit to. And because it's kind of dull, in my opinion. This season, I watched more than I've ever watched before. And the thought never really occurred to me that the connection between Jamal Bryant and Giselle until really this season. I was like, oh, that is the person we're supposed to be talking about. Okay, I got you. Jamal Bryant is so problematic. I mean, and this is the issue. This is the funny. It's so problematic. And but he also does say some truth, right? And so it's kind of one of those things that if you can speak truth and you can actually preach a word, that we are supposed to also look the other way to, uh, on your indiscretions. And your indiscretions are, you sleep around. And you don't just sleep around, you sleep around with no condoms and have multiple babies by multiple baby mamas. And somehow, and this is another thing that they used to say in the church, because I grew up in Church of God in Christ. And um and the thing that they used to say is that you should never follow up under a single pastor. And one of the main reasons is because women are attracted to pastors even if they're ugly, and um, like physically ugly on the outside. So there's an attractability to a pastor and to a minister. And even if they have nothing, they got two nickels to rub together, but they're a minister. There's some level of attractability, and so therefore, being having a single pastor means that you're going to have all these women who are going to be flocking with you, not you because of what you say and because of the life you're living, but because they're hoping that one day you choose them. And this is no shade. This is just kind of what the old folks used to say. I'm going to preface this by saying too that like I said, I was raised in Church of God in Christ. And for most of my years, I did not play, I did not talk to many of the people at my church. They made attempts to talk to me. There was this young man when I was in the choir, he'd be like, "So what book you're reading?" And I'd hold up my book. Like, I literally did not speak. And so many of them were like, they make a joke when I eventually did start talking to them at like 14. So I was there for 12 years without any of them hearing my voice. And they'd be like, they'd make jokes about like, oh, that's what your voice sounds like. And I was like, oh, the shade. Yes, the shade. But, but on the other hand, what I observed from church is it's so messy. Church is a messy, messy place. And the church is a place where people hook up. It was the place where they would set marriages together. They'd hook up marriages. They'd, do all of the, my former pastor's wife would come up to me and be like, "So, when are you getting married?" And I was just like, I have to go to college. And then right after college, so when are you getting married? And I was like, well, it's called grad school. I'm going to grad school. Like, marriage was not, and so this, because their idea was that, if you're single for too long past adulthood, past 18, then you are going to eventually be out there sowing your wild oats. Okay. Like, I mean, and when I was that age, I was like, I want to be married as close to 18, right after 18 as possible because, why wait? Like, why? Like, so my intention was um, but what's so strange about it is that I am not a relationship person. I am a serial dater kind of a person. And so relationship wise was kind of a little bit of a hard thing to to approach. um but I did think that I was going to be in a serious relationship. It's just that he didn't think that back, which is fair, which is life. And but the one thing I observed from church and in reflecting back to some of the ministers that I observe, like, there's no way you can tell me that certain people weren't cheating. Like, there's no way to tell me that some of the behavior that was happening was okay. Like, this was not okay behavior. But people didn't want to say that because we're children, right? But the problem is that you're modeling this behavior whether you're saying it or not. You are telling us that having these meetings with these women is appropriate, and when you're married, like, telling all your business behind the pulpit is perfectly acceptable. Like, it's just, and the thing that we give cloak to in the church is that we say, don't speak on a man of God, because it can come back to you. It can harm you if you call out a man of God. And it's like, wait a second. That means that gives him full immunity to uh, cheat on his wife, beat his wife, say whatever, and say whatever to people, to cheat, cheat when it comes to money this time. Like, you could do basically anything and you get a free and clear pass, because our argument is that that ministers check ministers, but me as a person who's not a minister can never say, dude, you're wrong. That is the reason why so many of these ministers get away with doing a lot of the things that they're doing. So you have Jamal Bryant, who is clearly problematic. He does this whole video to try to explain himself with a binder that everybody's making jokes about. And I honestly am like, I don't see how you making binders and doing all of this stuff makes any sense to me. Makes no sense to me. Zero, none, right? Because it's embarrassing to the person that you're with. And what's so mean to me is what's so mean is and this is one of the reasons why I'm not um, friends. I wouldn't say friends, but we respect each other's boundaries. Let's put it that way. And this was before him and I got married to our different spouses. Is that I got married to my spouse first, and then he got married to his. Is I felt that if you view me as another person and you respected me as another person in Christ, then you would treat me differently. You would treat me like you'd want to be treated. You wouldn't hold me to, you wouldn't hold me in disregard, and you wouldn't um, embarrass me and make me feel lower by flaunting the different people you date in front of me. And because of that, it was like, enough is enough. Like, and we can't, um, uh, we we can't be, uh, we we can't be as, uh, uh, we can't be in this temporary state of friendship that is defined by you. You should be defining, you know, you should be respecting me. And since that's not possible, then, you know, then there's nothing here. And Giselle has kids by this man. And unfortunately, she's not at that place where she can make that assessment. She's not in a place where she can say, respect me. Even though they're divorced, she's not there. And that's, it's a hard place to be. And it's also a hard place to be when you have kids by this person. I have kids by this person. Um, and and he was a minister at one point, right? And so it's a strange beast. And then so you see like these other people like Joel Osteen that is getting dragged because he got some uh, small business money. And it's not an unfair drag because the argument is you're an entity that doesn't pay taxes and you're getting money. And I think that all churches, though I can understand churches getting money because they are taking a serious hit when they don't have donations and the need is there. But, and I don't know what Joel Osteen is doing, to help other people meet those needs. Like, I don't know if he's out there doing donations. He definitely has a history of not being as supportive when it comes to like he didn't open up his doors during during moments of danger because he felt like when they have the floods and stuff, he didn't open it up because he felt that because of liability reasons. And it's like, wow, other companies are excusing their liability reasons, but you're not going to let people stay in your building. Okay. versus, there's other ministers. And see, this is where it's so strange, because this is one of the reasons why people lean towards like a Jesse Duplantis, right? And it's an interesting one, because then you look at the person who studied underneath Joel Osteen. Oh, I can't think of the minister in one of the Carolinas. I think it's South Carolina. South Carolina. He used to have a show on OWN. I can't think of his name, but he used to be at Joel Osteen's church, and he was a guy, black guy, who's talking about he voted for Trump, and I mean, and he was this virgin who got married, and then now he has like he continues to embarrass his wife by saying, okay, I didn't have sex with her, but I'm doing all these phone meetings. And then the worst is when you bring your kid into it by talking about, now mommy doesn't cook, does she? Mommy keeps ordering pizza now, does she? And it's like, wow, this is what we doing. Why do you have to tell your chick on the side what your wife is doing in regards to raising y'all's kids? Because last time I checked, he's also an able-bodied man who can cook. And if you can't cook, then maybe you can hire um, um, a cook. Or what you can also do is get a cookbook and figure it out. What you can also do is give her some more money so she can order something better than pizza. And then also, when you have young kids, all of us who has young kids, especially a young boy, good luck on trying to get them to eat more than just pizza, chicken nuggets, and hot dogs. If you know the secret, tell me, because that's all my son eats. And he used to eat french fries. He stopped eating french fries a year ago. He may eat a fry. He talks about, I want curly fries, but then he sits there and eats only 2 curly fries. So I missed the point. The point is that we need to really have a full reckoning when it comes to dealing with these, ministers. And I'm gonna say, like, it makes you not interested. And the reason why people harp on the bigger ministers is not because like we plan on going, but it's that what they're doing on a larger scale, um, TD Jakes, who buys this multi-million-dollar house for his kid, and you have, all of these different, Jamal Bryant, who's doing whatever with anybody and whoever. Uh, the other dude in South Carolina, he's just doing whatever. And on the phone, maybe he's not physically having sex, and then he buys her these super exclusive multi-$100,000 car, kind of a thing. Then you have Joel Osteen, who's taking all this money from the government, but then turning around and not helping the people as much. You're doing all these things, and what happens is this. And I go to Fame now, like, and the minister, the former pastor of Fame before this pastor, I mean, that man was, we sued him, right? So for taking money from the church, him and his wife, and he's having all these tax problems. The thing is, what they do on a larger scale is something that we see on smaller scales in small churches. We are fully aware. Talking about, if you go to a small church, it's still there. You'll have some people who are trying to steal $50. The deacon trying to steal the minister who's trying, the poor deacon who's trying to stop the minister from stealing $50. Poor minister who knows that they got a couple women in the church that's looking at him, and that kind of a thing. He's chasing other women. We've seen it, and because we've given cover to it, this is the reason why we get upset when we look at these ministers who are doing the wrong thing on such larger scale, and we know what they doing because they do it on the larger scale, and we see what they do at home in these small scale markets, and they continue to keep doing it, and they keep doing it, and they keep doing it, and it's still insulting. And it's insulting, and to be honest, it hurts our feelings. Right, and that's where we were left at. Um, and and at the end of the day, none of you all are doing the Lord's work if you are doing all that. What you're doing is hustling, and that's the problem. That's not bringing people to the Lord. It's a hustle. With a sprinkle of goodness. I'll see you next time.